spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain and majesty. Above the fruited plain, America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond